Trying to do stuff can be hard because it doesn't always work out. Well, I'm interested in anyone trying to make themselves or the world a better place. So join me, Chris Wright, as we explore people just simply trying to do interesting stuff. And hey, hopefully the next time you try to do something, it's a little more likely to happen. All right, now it's time to try the podcast. Yeah, that works. All right, and welcome back to another episode of Try the Podcast. This will be our first episode of 2019, and I thought it'd be really interesting to talk to a friend and personal trainer of mine, Josh. And what's interesting about Josh is he'll talk a little bit about his life story, and it's one of just total perseverance. He practically raised himself from middle school onward, which is pretty unique, and now is just doing really well for himself, finishing up a degree, starting a new gym, just a very level-headed guy and somebody who I've already learned a great deal from. So without further ado, let's kick it to Josh. I guess I'll start by talking about the date. So here we are, January 2nd. We're with Josh. How do you pronounce your last name, Josh?
Ruchwarger.
Ruchwarger?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How close was that to?
That was good.
Ruchwarger.
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
Awesome. To talk about fitness and gyms and everything. I probably will have already said how I met you and why I met you, so we don't have to really cover that.
Yeah.
But no, your background and your story, like as far as, I don't know, the journey you've been on, I think I've only heard it secondhand, like through...
I don't mind telling them.
Yeah, through Heather or something.
Yeah.
So I guess, does it start kind of in high school or middle school or?
Like my health problems?
Health problems?
Yeah,
and
like
just
late middle school.
Late
End of middle school, yeah.
So what ended up happening? Like what was the first thing that happened?
What was the first thing that happened? I think it originally started, I mean, this might not be the exact reason that my heart problem started, but I was playing basketball in 8th grade and dove for a loose ball and that got like stepped on my chest.
Okay.
And so I remember having a chest pain like a day or two after and going to the doctor and they said I had a bruised sternum.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it could be completely irrelevant, but that's where it all started. I remember like getting chest pains. And then within a few weeks after that, I was, outside in recess or something and just passed out. And next thing I remember was just like my dad in the hospital. And they were just like, yeah, he had heart palpitations and things like that. And it just continued for, oh my gosh, years. I mean, so
like all through high school.
All through high school. I mean, I wish I remembered his name right now, but the Lafayette firefighter, I think they stopped billing me because they came to Centaurus High School so much.
How many total times over this 5-6 year period?
I mean, they called them like episodes or attacks, whatever the doctors wanted to call them, but I would say at least 40 to 50.
40 to 50.
Yeah. That's
quite a bit. That's like, what, once a month, once every other month?
Yeah, and sometimes it'd be a couple times a week, Sadly, it was like one of those things in high school, everybody's mean, so I was like, oh, he's wanting attention or blah, blah, blah. But because I was just passed it out and just falling. just plopping around.
Guy, though. Like, why would anybody...
I was... Actually, in high school, I mean, I guess you can't do it on a podcast, but I was a skinny little guy. I was super skinny in high school.
How much did you weigh in high school?
140, 150.
Seriously?
Yeah, I was tiny. Wow. It was probably about senior year, and then afterwards I finally started first turned into fat and then started leaning out and getting muscular.
I thought you were, weren't you like a soccer player? Big time soccer player.
I was I played basketball and track.
Oh, track.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was a big track guy. I took second in state.
Did you?
Freshman year.
Which event?
200 meter dash.
Really?
Yeah. So it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
You ended up going to college right after, or?
I did. I had a scholarship, an offer, not a scholarship, but an offer at San Diego State to run track. But because of my heart problems, I didn't pass my physical. So I ended up not that I didn't mind, but I went to CU Boulder right after high school.
Yeah.
And then that's where I actually had my first heart surgery. So, I mean, over all this 5 years, it was... and this is me being a little rude about Western medicine, but, we went everything through, was it acid reflux you're having problems with? I was on antidepressants to see if it was anxiety attacks, depression symptoms, things like that. What else? I went through CAT scans for your brain and stuff to see if there were seizures, because I would have sort of seizure symptoms. Right. Like when I would have these episodes, I don't remember them, but from what everybody tells me and people that are close to me, they would say I would black out, my body would tense up. And so my fist would be balled up and veins popping out kind of thing, weird symptoms. And I would just be spasming throughout the episode.
Did they ever
Did Western medicine ever really diagnose you properly or not really?
No, the last doctor I had, I mean, yes, I'm still with him. He was like, one of these days you're going to be in a medical journal once we figure out exactly what you had. Because I mean, I've had 2 heart surgeries and they were heart ablations. So they go through your groin and cauterize. Yeah. And so if people aren't familiar with it, it's pretty much like, think of like a road map in your heart. You have the electric current. And so I had these things that were, they're like little pathways that were maybe taking like road bumps. Like they should go in a straight line and they were like diverting. Okay. And so that was making my heart like race or just slow down. So I had different forms of tachycardia. That was what they actually found during the surgeries. But afterwards, I mean, it continued even after 2 surgeries.
Really?
And then finally medication finally helped me.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah, settle down. So
the medication is helping you.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But did they ever really diagnose? Like, does the condition exist? It's not really called anything.
Nope. I mean, in a lot of people, so it's AVNRT, which is like, I forget, something ventricular, tachycardia.
Yeah.
They said usually happens at birth, so it's rare for somebody to develop like later in life. So that's why it was really strange.
Totally, yeah.
Is that it just started happening?
Clearly a superhero. I mean, that's the only logical explanation.
I wish.
I'm definitely going to send this interview to my brother-in-law because he's a cardiologist. And
is he?
Yeah, so he does those procedures that you're talking about. And he was talking about one where it's like a tiny little balloon and it goes all the way in and the little balloon gets to put a stint in or something.
Yeah, exactly.
He was describing it to me. It was fascinating.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I remember it was always scary because, I think my first surgery I was 19.
Yeah.
My second I was probably 21. And I remember my second surgery, they were like, you might wake up with a pacemaker. And, just knowing going into that at 21, I was like, oh, that's, weird. So I have surgery and then wake up in the cardiovascular room where I'm the youngest by like 50 years. So that was always fun, recovering for, 4 or 5 days while walking around slowly. And everybody else is on walkers. So like, you had nurses making comments like, why are you here?
Yeah, yeah.
So it was definitely strange.
It's like me too. When they're like, you're so anemic, you shouldn't be conscious right now.
Wow.
And then I had to go get iron transfusions with the cancer patients, and they're like, "You're just in here to get iron? Like, who does that?"
No, and it was really weird. I mean, that happened in my life as well. My father was bipolar, and so it was probably my high school year, going into my freshman year. So I was 14, 15. Mm-hmm. He actually went to Nicaragua in the early 80s during the Revolutionary War there, like the Contras and Sandinistas, if you remember hearing about that.
That's where he was born, right?
No, he was born in Massachusetts. I'm not Massachusetts, sorry, Maryland, in Annapolis, Maryland. Yeah. And his parents were both Holocaust survivors. And so like that, that in itself is amazing. But he went there after actually failing his doctorate, like his thesis, like in front of people, really? In Berkeley. So, but he had a calling to go help. I forget exactly what he said, but I think there was a reporter at the time in the 80s that died on national TV.
Okay.
That was killed, and it just like sparked him to go help.
In the 80s.
Yeah,
and that's where you met your mom.
Yep. And then he went there. He helped the town where my mom's from is called Esteli, Nicaragua, and he actually was responsible for building about 2 or 3 schools there, taught English, and just volunteered and things, and met my mom, who was, oh my gosh, probably like 18 to 20 years old at the time, so really? Young. Yeah. And she already had 2 kids. She was like a general in the army. Actually, she was actually fighting in the war, and so it was crazy.
Your mom sounds pretty tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was. I wish I knew more. Actually, I don't know enough about it. But he also wrote 2 books, like one about tobacco, because tobacco is the main income source of income in Nicaragua for a lot of people, and then just talked about the second book was about a revolution. It was called People in Power.
Okay.
So it was pretty interesting.
What part of them?
Yeah. Yeah. And, like I said, he fell in love with the country. But when I was 13, 14, my dad was, to this day, I still think he's probably the smartest man I ever met, but mm-hmm. definitely fought his own demons. And mm-hmm. I'm a big believer that very brilliant people have mental problems, because I feel like most people that I've met that are super not maybe that I've not met, this is completely off topic, but like Kanye West or something, right? You hear people that have these huge ideas, but they also struggle internally. And that was definitely my dad. He was nicest guy. If he sat here in the room, he'd make you laugh, do everything. But away from it, if it was just him or I, he was pretty rough. Not that I need to get into it, but he was, just not the greatest dad.
When the two of you were alone.
When it was just us two.
You'd get frustrated.
Correct. Like, he taught me good things, right? He made me read early and things like that. So I was well educated, but he was also just not, I don't think he was meant to be like a father.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like what led, he just up and left. I went to like a church camp, I think a couple weeks before school started in high school, and he just gives me a call because I got home and I was like, that's weird. Where is he?
Yeah.
And so he wasn't there, and he just calls me and he's like, hey, I'm at an airport. I'm going to Nicaragua for like a week or two. And it wasn't uncommon for him. He would travel a lot with business, so he would just leave and I'd be there.
Yeah.
And so I'd be like, okay. But then he called me and he was like, I'm not coming back. And pretty much just rented out the house when I was 15.
Rented out your house?
Yeah, rented out our house. He came back to do that. Put me in charge of actually collecting rent and stuff at 15.
So you were allowed to live in your house though?
No. He rented it out and I would like go collect the rent and like Western Union him the money so he could live off of it.
Okay.
And, I would pay bills or whatever through the money.
Where were you living?
At that time, I didn't really even know my mom. So I was who was I living with? I actually was in this neighborhood that you live in. Yeah. There was a lady named Joan Louth. She works at Centaurus, and her sons, we played basketball together. So I just asked to stay with them.
Yeah.
And so for about 3 years, my mom came and from California moved here. Like once she found out that my dad left, but she just wasn't stable. My mom's Nicaraguan. She didn't speak great English at the time. So she came here. Her husband was in California working to save money to move over and move all his stuff. And just during that time, they lost the house we were in. So she moved here. We lived in Erie for a few months and they just didn't pay rent at all. Okay. So we got evicted really quickly. And then so she went to I think maybe a women's shelter because it was myself. And then I have a younger half sister who was with her, so they went to the women's shelter and me being stubborn. I was like, I just started at Centaurus. I don't want to move schools. So I ended up just asking a friend just at a whim if I could stay with him. And his parents never had met me and they were both accepted me. And for 6 months took me in, bought my first cell phone, things like that. So I've been very lucky that I've lived with a lot of different families throughout high school, and all of them took care of me when they didn't know me much or, didn't need to help. So it was really nice.
I mean, at what point, so your mom, in your earlier life, did your mom come up here with you from Nicaragua then?
Yeah, she did. So my dad, right. He's responsible for I have 3 other half siblings, all of them. Well, I guess 2 at the time when I was born. He brought my mom and them over to the United States, but they got quickly divorced when I was about a year or 2.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, she was pretty much out of the picture in my early life. I remember she would come and visit, and there was times I remember her answering. I answered the door once, and I was like, "Dad, there's this lady at the door," and just because I didn't know her, I didn't know that was my mom until he came down and was like, "This is your mom," kind of thing.
Mom, yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." So, but that's how it was. I don't know. My dad always, you can't ever hear stories from divorced parents. My dad was like, "Oh, she lied," blah blah blah. So kept her out of life. So I don't know what exactly happened, but yeah, I didn't know my mom really until I was about 14.
So your dad 15. Sort of raised you for those 5 to 7 years, and then you sort of just raised yourself from about
correct.
13.
Yeah, from high school. So going through all these health problems, I was going through the health problems, living, and I was probably in about 4 or 5 different houses throughout my high school career.
Yeah, and
luckily, I had my mom was around. She would go to the hospital with me and things like that, but a lot of these families would just help me throughout all the time, help me pay bills. I'm very grateful. So that's one thing, later in life, if I'm making money, my goal is to repay them in some way.
Yeah.
People that paid me, help me.
I feel you too. No comparison at all, but I was super stubborn going through college and my parents were like, "You're going to pay for half." And I was like, "No, I'm going to pay for all of it. I don't want your money." So I was an RA and stuff, and they ended up helping me out with my senior year the most, and they still won't allow me to pay them back. Well,
and I'm sure that would probably be the case. People,
I know.
A couple of them are, pretty well off and have great jobs, but like I said, I think one of them, his name's, I don't know if I mentioned his name. His name's John, but he bought me my first cell phone, gave me lunch money for school, things like that. So I was very gracious, things I didn't have when I was.
Well, and then the whole other part of the story, though, is okay, so your dad is sort of now out of the picture, living in Nicaragua. You're hearing from him from time to time, but you had no health insurance.
No health insurance because my father just left. He was a financial advisor, so he actually had a good job, but I don't know why he left. But no health insurance. I think luckily a lot when I was young was paid for because of was it Medicaid when you're 18 or
18 or underage, yeah.
I forget it's Medicaid.
But it's like an 80-20 thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So you have to pay quite a bit. I probably
Yeah, what's the total amount of money, like out of pocket money
that I've spent
that you've had to come up with?
at least, I would say like $70,000 to $80,000.
70 to 80 grand.
Yeah.
As a college student.
Yeah.
With really no income.
Nope. Not much. I mean, I worked. Don't get me wrong. I worked throughout high school, but
sure.
It was
$13 an hour.
It was
$10 an hour.
I was like at the rec center coaching, kids, things like that. I worked at a bowling alley. Became a manager at one point. Worked there for like years throughout high school. What else? I don't know. Just odd jobs here and there.
Whittle it down.
Yeah, exactly.
How much do you have left? Okay.
How much do I have left? Probably I'm under about 10 grand now.
That's it.
So yeah, I've been paying off a lot.
Good for you, Josh.
But and like I said, I got a lot of help. I mean, because like one of my surgery was probably $250,000, but because I was underage, the government paid for most of it. Yeah.
Which
is
frankly,
awesome.
They should.
But it just everything racks up from like going and see my heart doctor all the time to paramedics.
Yeah.
They piled up bills. And of course I have a grandmother who's helped me pay a lot of it, but even at the same time, she doesn't like to hear bad things. So like when I would tell her things, she'd be like, "Oh, I'll pay this," and I'd show her these little bills, but she doesn't understand that they're like over time accumulated so much. And
is that your dad's?
Yeah, this is my dad's mom.
Okay, cool. And she's in Palo Alto, right?
Yeah, she's in Palo Alto now. Yeah.
Well, yeah, your story is just fascinating, Josh. That like. I can honestly say I haven't met anybody like you that just kind of went through school like this and you're just so level-headed and you have all these awesome ideas. So I met Josh. My previous trainer introduced me to Josh, and so now I've been with you for almost coming up on a year.
Almost
maybe?
a year. I think the summer was it?
Yeah. Okay. So maybe 2/3 of a year. But okay, so. We're looking at my computer right now because I jotted down like a roadmap for the discussion. Otherwise, Josh and I tend to just talk about comic books. We can tell you about how the latest Spider-Man movie is good. I saw it. I took my kids to it. Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh my gosh, I loved it.
Yeah, you said
it was amazing.
Yeah,
I would love to. Might do it tomorrow. I have some time off.
Mm-hmm. So one of my first questions for you. So why training and physical fitness, and how do you move from the bowling alley manager into being kind of a trainer? But also, of course, you're a programmer and a developer, and you can kind of do computer science stuff.
Correct.
So
physical fitness. Why physical fitness? I would say so because of my health problems. I also played a lot of sports. So I played basketball, ran track in high school. Mm-hmm. So I was always in love with playing sports, being athletic, things like that. I never really worked out when I was in high school, which now that I think about it, I really wish I had to like build a better foundation. Mm-hmm. But I worked out at the Lafayette Rec Center, and I met Rich Bradford, who trained, also was a trainer with Heather. And I just remember one time I saw him all the time, and I was like, Rich, I think my goal for him was like, I want to get a chest. So it was like right after high school, I was, like I said, I was a really skinny kid. So I was like, I just want to build some muscle. But, so I would work out with him a couple times a week, and he helped me out. Of course, he didn't charge me much, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. And so that kept going, and I would play basketball. And then I think I was probably 21, 22. I tore my knee playing basketball, and I tore my MCL, my meniscus, my patella, and I had to have surgery. And so at first it was like a 4-month recovery time, but when my surgeon wanted my knee, she was like, "Oh, you have so much scar tissue in there. It's, it's going to take longer." And it took about 4 months just for my knee to stop swelling after the surgery. Okay. So I was in bed rest for months, just on leave. I was working at Apple, I think, at the time. And so, I was on like workers leave, and I just remember going up to Rich when I finally was through PT about 4 or 5 months after my surgery. And I was like, "Hey, I just want to be able to like walk normally again." Cause I couldn't walk downstairs. It was my left knee. So I would, exactly. Like now I was slowly just like coming downstairs. I was like, I would just love to run and, maybe get to the point where I could play basketball again.
Yeah.
So he started, super slow, just like deep ball squats, things like that, and just helping me. And I was at the point where I would like have to hold on to him just to go down. So it took time, and he helped me like get into shape. And once I finally was able to run again after, we probably worked out pretty hard for about 4 or 5 months. Mm-hmm. I just thanked him, and we kept going. And Rich at the time, it was probably like 2015. 14, 15, so 24, 25.
5 years ago.
He was just turning 50, and he wanted to compete in like a bodybuilding show. And this is really where like it all spurned all my fitness stuff, because he was just like telling me, he was like, I have all these clients that, have gone through a lot of hardships, and like one lady had just beaten breast cancer. And so he's like, I want to help all these people and just show them that they can do things by training. And I was like, oh, that'd be awesome. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm 50. I just want to show people that we're able to get to this peak. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to ask some of my friends to do it with me. I was like, oh, who are you going to ask? He's like, you. I was like, oh, crap. I was like, yeah, I work out a lot, but not religiously like that.
I'm not a bodybuilder.
No.
Is this when Heather did it too?
This is a year before. He did 2 shows, and the first one was small, so it was just a handful. That's like, I think most of men actually dropped out just probably being nervous and stuff.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, so we trained, 6 days a week for 6 months straight, eating super strict. And
you got to get me one of those photos. We'll put it on the.
Yeah, no, I will. I'll send you one. But I mean, I can even show you my before, because the time when I had my knee surgery, I must have, like I said, I was probably 150 in high school, got to probably like 180 out of graduating high school. And then after my knee surgery, probably like 215 with no muscle. So, I got pretty heavy for being myself.
That'd be fun. We could do it.
So yeah,
after.
Definitely.
Love before.
Yeah. I can show you that. I mean, I don't have like, obviously I don't think I took my shirt off or anything, but you can definitely see my face. My face was like nice and round.
Meanwhile, for me, if I could get down to 215, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Be like,
no, it's great.
10 pounds lighter for me.
But that's honestly where all the fitness stuff started, because we did the show and then the following year did another one. Mm-hmm. And then, it just became sort of like my own little religion. I just kept working out, and because I feel great doing it. And that's what actually.
But you enjoy having clients too. And
and then turning into a trainer, I was actually, so I went to Galvanize, which was a coding camp. Because of all my surgeries, I was in and out of college. Mm-hmm. I would go to school, have to withdraw from a semester because I had a surgery and would get sick, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And so I left school and just worked full time at Apple. And I remember
doing at Apple?
Just sales.
Yeah.
So just at an Apple store, just, selling repairs, things like that.
Sure.
So I worked full time there, and a lot of my coworkers went to Galvanize, which is a coding boot camp. Mm-hmm. And so they were loving it and telling me about it. And I was already studying computer science at school when I left. So they're like, go try that out. And since I hadn't been in school probably for, 2.5, 3 years, I was like, I did that. Did that, got a job offer in San Francisco, moved to San Francisco for a summer 2 years ago. And I just hated my life. I don't get me wrong. I love coding and I love creating things, but the team I was with was, very senior and very individual. So I'd go and ask help and they'd be like, oh, go Google it, or that kind of thing. It was like no guidance. And I was probably in the office like 60 hours a week. Yeah. It was so expensive in San Francisco. I was like, I'm just not loving it. Mm. And my grandma at the time actually helped me out. And she was like, hey, you never finished your degree. She's like, if you're not happy, she's like, and that doesn't pan out. She's like, I would help you this time because I didn't have help my first few years. And she's like, oh, you can go back to school. Mm-hmm. And she's like, finish your degree. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, the fastest place to go back to school would be CU. Mm-hmm. So after moving there, leaving everything here, I moved back to Colorado. And this was, a year and a half ago now. Yeah. So I'm about 6 months away from graduating. So when I came back, I think I actually had my personal training license already. I'd studied for it and got it. But then I just came back and got hired at the City of Lafayette. Yeah. And then started training. And then and then that's where I are. And then here I am now.
And so now, we'll go off script, but so now I'm working out with you out of a CrossFit gym. We don't really do CrossFit-y stuff.
Correct.
I show up 5 minutes early and I watch them all kill themselves, and then you and I do our thing. But you have this vision for kind of like a newer gym, a different gym experience. And I'm kind of jumping around a bit, but I'd love to just kind of segue into kind of the new gym. So it's called Beyond Bold, right? Beyond
Correct.
Bold Fitness. Yep. The logo's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
I got to help Josh with it a little bit.
Yeah, you gave me good tips about the flat irons.
Yeah,
we
tips
took it
about
and
it
it worked.
So talk to us about that. Like, at what point did you say, the whole notion of a fitness center or a gym could be vastly improved upon? I have thoughts about it. Like, when did that start?
So it started when I came back home because I was going back to school. I knew I wanted to start training to make side money so I could live off of it. Yeah. Things like that. And also because I loved it. But I remember I was with a friend of mine and I just started talking to him about this idea because, I grew up at the Lafayette Rec Center and worked out there, played hours and hours of basketball. I even worked there when I was younger. And I just realized that, for myself, because of my background and how it was growing up, I just realized that there's not a true sense of community at the rec center and a lot of gyms that I go to. And if you, not to throw Lifetime under the bus, but Lifetime's a huge, chain thing.
Or a 24-hour fitness.
Yeah, one of those. You go in there, right? And if you're a first-time gym person, you're probably going to be scared out of your mind because you're going to be like, what the heck? And you see these huge guys lifting huge weights. It's just not the most inviting environment. So my thought behind it was I would love a rec center kind of vibe, but where it was just a little more inviting, so more social. And so what I mean by that is I would love it to, let's just start from the entrance, right? If you walked in, I don't think I would get away with a desk, right? There's no check-in right away. I would have maybe a little coffee shop and a sit-down area so people can go in, relax kind of thing. But I would love to have different trainers there to just be able to help. So to maybe have a person on the floor at all times and be like, hey, if you've never worked out, how can I help you?
Kind
How
of
can
like
we help you?
right?
Yeah, exactly. So that way, it's a little less intimidating, and that we would have gym equipment, but I would also like it to be very, I don't like using the word holistic, but I would like to be holistic, meaning like have the gym aspect, have yoga in there, maybe hire some like boxing instructors, kickboxing. So there's all different avenues of fitness. But then again, it's more than just fitness, it's mental health, and psychiatrists, therapists. I would love to have maybe one on hand. And, I'm actually just going to start with a new gym here we're slowly starting to integrate this. She's a physical therapist. And so she's actually hiring a doctor who does like blood analysis, things like that. So you can check your hormones and things like that to align with food and stuff. But just to have,
your fitness center. So I can walk in, get a little bit of blood drawn, and they say, you know what?
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like, this is, the food you need to eat. You're too high, your cholesterol, blah, blah, blah. It would be able to tell you exactly what you need to do to get you into shape. But honestly, I just really like a place that it's not just a gym where you walk in, walk out, right? To where you could actually feel like you could talk about problems. You can meet people out of it. You can socialize afterwards. You could go have a coffee. I thought maybe I would even hire like high school kids to come and like tutor for kids if they have like child centers. So not so they're just like playing around. You can like have your kid do homework, socialize with other kids, things like that while you go work out, or if you're like drinking coffee after your workout. And my thoughts would be even maybe like making like game nights and stuff at the gym where people could come and interact, movie nights.
So it's kind of like a rec center.
Yeah, kind of like a rec center, but just a lot more inclusive.
Yeah.
Not to throw rec centers on the bus, but I just really would like a sense of community, because where we're at nowadays in America, we're so individualistic. Technology does it to us. We have our headphones in and things like that, or people working out just with their phone and taking forever. I just think it'd be nice to actually build a sense of community and build good relationships around fitness and health.
I see a lot of microbreweries do a good job with that, where it used to be you walked into a pub or a bar and it was just kind of like, if the bartender knew your name, you were probably an alcoholic. But but now you walk in and some of them, you pay $10 and you get your mug, and just having your name and your mug on the wall, it's like, oh, I feel a part of it
exactly.
all of a sudden. And I think that CrossFit does a really good job of that. That's the one thing I think they do the best job of.
I think CrossFit's great. I have nothing bad against it, just because I don't train that way. But if you're somebody who's never worked out before, you're getting in there, you're moving, your heart rate's up. It's going to kick your ass. Yeah. So it's great. And and the people
component.
Exactly. And you're there with people and everybody's cheering you on to get it done, because it's usually a timed kind of workout by the end of it. And it is. And like at CrossFit Vim where I work out, the people that are great. They're like when they're in there. Yeah. The people that are always in there, they're always so nice and they're always cheering each other on. So it is a good community.
It's pretty cool to bring that kind of component into the rec center world.
Yeah, exactly.
The person next to you. For me, if I write my name down and then I'm doing something like the competitive element, I'm going to work out more often and harder probably.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's what Peloton's trying to do. Although I have yet to try the Peloton bike.
Yeah, I've heard great things about them.
Yeah, we've got some at work. So that's next on the list. But I think that competitive notion, then it's like, oh, I need to beat Bob. I need to beat Sally.
Yeah, exactly.
Sally post that time. I want to get on the bike or lift heavier weights.
Yeah, so like, group classes and things like that would make it fun. Mm-hmm. But like I said, if I had a gym, I would train and I would have everything in there.
Yeah, but you're actively doing this. You have the space.
Yeah, I have space right now. I'm slowly buying equipment to move into this new gym. So I'll be working out at 2 gyms in Lafayette and Erie. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually going to be going the next day or two advertising, marketing, putting some flyers around. So
getting the word out.
Yep, exactly.
So my last question. Okay, so we talked about what you think is missing, how you're going to differentiate yourself. We've kind of covered on that. Can you think of ways to show how your gym members are like healthier, happier people? Like, is there a way to quantifiably kind of prove that this new model is working? Or you identify something that you thought would be working and then it's not working. You know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering what success looks like.
That's a good question. Because I said holistic, right? I would say, as long as you're getting in and doing some kind of movement, right? Because I'm not saying everybody has to go in and weight lift all the time to be fit or eat perfectly. But if they can, walk in, do whatever makes them happy, feel good afterwards, and that they can leave with a smile, because that's the one thing I found for myself is that personally, like times when I was low, that your dopamine levels are just going to spike after you work out. So you're going to already feel a little happier, a little better. Mm-hmm. So, just moving, honestly, is my little thing. Just move, go and move. And obviously that's not quantifiable, but
Well, it would be if you surveyed people, because how many people are going to join a gym and they're going to be dedicated for 6 weeks, and then pretty soon they go once a week, then it's once a month.
Exactly.
I'm guilty of this time.
Yeah. I mean, all of us are. But it's January 3rd right now, and gyms are crazy right now.
Yeah.
And there's so many people, and it is sad. It's hard to see it. I love seeing that it gets busy, but then usually like mid-February, it just like dies out. So I think that's one of the hardest things. I think people set such big, ambitious goals that when they fail, they just give up.
Yeah.
But if you take it one step at a time, I'm all about just commit yourself to doing something. Don't go 100% in, because you're going to set yourself up for failure. But if you can be consistent and like have a goal and be like, okay, 5 days a week, I'm going to at least, go to the gym a couple times, go on a walk here and there, and eat healthy, Monday through Friday kind of thing, then you'll set yourself up for success if you're not just gung ho. And as soon as you take that bite of the cookie, you have 7 more and you're like, oh, it's over. I'm done.
Got to wait until 2020.
Exactly. We just have this, and there it goes back to culture. It's like, it just goes back to like, your Instagram life and stuff. You see everybody living their perfect life, and it's just not that case. We're all failing, and we're all failing and succeeding. It's just, we don't see the failure all the time.
You should be a motivational speaker, Josh. We're all failing.
I mean, but it's awful. I mean, we all have hardships. We just don't like to show it on our socials pages, right?
I should do that. I should just post fails on my Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad.
February can be the month of failure.
It sucks with it messes with your psyche for sure.
Yeah.
When you see all that stuff. I know it did to me when I was younger. I was like, but now I don't even care. Like, I delete my Facebook and stuff. I'm like, I'm not going to get warped into that stuff.
Into that method of thinking.
No, you just have to do you, right? Yeah. And just try to be happier.
I think, I would say your KPI would just be consistent visits to your facility.
Yeah.
And then you're going to earn more money as a result of that.
Exactly. And like I said, I mean, and there's I really would like different avenues. So if you're having a bad day, go sit down with, Barbara, whoever I hire as a psychiatrist or therapist.
The therapist person.
Yeah. So, that way you can, because there's so many aspects. I mean, there's your mental health, there's your physical health,
and I feel like we don't prioritize mental health.
No,
it's just like, if you're going to a therapist, that means things are really bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, really not the case.
And maybe that's because I'm a child of somebody who was bipolar, but I mean, he was on lithium. Have you heard of that? So it's like supposed to keep you at bay and things like that. And he would just go like on and off, and he'd have his highs where, he'd be in the best mood ever, and then 5 minutes later he could be on the bathroom floor just like completely depressed.
Really?
So yeah, it was hard to watch as a kid. So
yeah,
I mean, luckily, he was very nice and was like, if you ever feel those symptoms, like go talk to somebody. But luckily I haven't. But just living, growing up in it, like you see what people go through. It sucks.
Yeah.
So
and you lost your father.
I did. He passed away.
Yeah.
Sudden heart attack in Nicaragua.
Okay, and he was down in Nicaragua, but your mom is back in Colorado.
Yeah, she lives here now, and we have a good relationship. And luckily, all her kids are here. My sister's in Colorado Springs, or 2 of my sisters in Colorado Springs. My brother lives with her right now, and then myself, we're like 20 minutes away from each other.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's good. Yeah. We have a good relationship.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's see. So I jotted down, how are you going to make more money than an existing gym business model? This is an interesting question, and it could be that you don't have the answer, nor do you need to have the answer. But imagine that you're talking to an investor and you need 10 grand from somebody. Why are they going to choose you over like a Lifetime Fitness from the business component, not just from a holistic health component?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I was able to get a big enough space, and it doesn't even have to be crazy large, I mean, I would like to just have a like monthly membership kind of thing. I mean, not to throw more gyms, we'll just say, Gym A over here, they're charging $120 a month for your fee, right? Just to get in the gym. Yeah. And then on top of it, they're charging you maybe $60 to $100 to train with the trainer. Yeah. So it piles up after a while. I would think I would just do like one generic fee. Like one fee gets you entrance, you can train with people, and hopefully just by that and having like residual clients coming in, residual gym members coming in, we'd be able to do all that. And now that I think about it, I'm like, might not be the best way. But I mean, ideally, that's what I would like to do. Just charge one fee and like have you access everything.
So you might get a personal trainer for your one fee.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is tremendously valuable because personal training gets pretty spendy.
It does.
I mean, especially outside. I was going to say outside Colorado, but really, if you're in the Bay Area.
I mean, if you're in a big gym, I mean, you're paying $7,500 an hour easily, maybe even more.
That's a lot of money
for a personal trainer.
I keep thinking, I love what Peloton's doing right now because it's all pre-recorded videos, or live videos. And I'm almost wondering if beyond Bold, if you could somehow, that's going to be the easiest way to scale, especially for a tech guy like yourself.
No, it's true.
Right? Imagine you're recording the whole class and you have, best case scenario, 25,000 people watching it, doing it in their living room, which...
Yeah, no, and that's definitely a good way to do it too. There's an app called Playbook. And so trainers can go on there and like have their workouts. They just do videos, sets of it, and work them out. I mean, there's a guy I follow, his name's Don Saladino, and he's, I think in New York, but he's super successful. I mean, he trains like Ryan Reynolds and like, big celebrities at his actual gym. Yeah. But then I don't know, who knows how many people he has, probably like tens of thousands other customers that pay him $10 a month just to get his workout. Yeah, exactly.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. I think that would be the way to do it, man. Because like for me, I have negative 3 hours of free time a day. Like that's kind of how I operate. I still make it into CU, but that's about it. Anything on top of that would be tough. But if I was following you either through an Instagram or through some sort of a video thing, and you wake up every day and then you can't help but see the class that you might be missing, right? It is that kind of social connectivity, which could work.
Yeah, no, and it could.
A lot of gyms just aren't that technical, I don't feel like.
No, it's actually a really good point. Right. They haven't integrated tech that much in the gyms.
To Lafayette Rec or to Louisville, it's just like, maybe there's Wi-Fi that works. That's about it.
I mean, because it's a good idea. Maybe you could like throw an iPad like in a room or something. You have the little studio rooms and just hit play, right? If it's open, then just have a little class going.
But then I could be doing that here in my basement.
Yeah, exactly.
And that way I'm connected to the group without having to physically be there as often.
Definitely.
That could be cool.
No, that's a great idea.
Because we should talk about the Holiday Achievers thing that we worked on. Because so you talked about Rich. Nobody's going to know Rich who listens to this, except for Heather. We'll see if Heather listens. But no, Rich, it was his idea, right?
He's been doing these for a long time. So he does usually like 3-month programs. And so what we did is, especially for the holiday season, because that's usually the hardest season for everybody, we created a 90-day program to where we could talk about, like mental health kind of things. We use Slack as our device to communicate. Definitely think about changing that just so everybody's more, on top of it.
Slack through a couple.
Exactly. We're slacking on Slack, but no, it's still great. I mean, so that way, we were able to communicate different goals every week of, have partner goals, things like that. We talked about nutrition. We had Thea, who's a nutritionist, giving tips. Rich talks to a doctor who's a hormone specialist out in Iowa. His name's Dr. Warren Willey. Love the guy. He knows everything about everything. It's ridiculous. He's been studying for like 30 plus years. So, I go to him for all my questions. But we just used it to motivate and help people through the holiday season, give them recipes, like healthier recipes. That way they can, learn to eat a little healthier around these times where you binge eat. And I'm definitely I'm guilty of it. This last week has put me under. Geez. I'm ready to start my resolution. I'm like, I just need to eat healthy again.
No, it was awesome because I participated and it was great. It was a really reasonable cost for a 3-month program. You guys charge like $200.
Yeah.
It's just super reasonable. And then I don't know how many group workouts we did, like 3 or 4.
We did 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I think we're meeting here on tomorrow, actually.
Thursday? Tomorrow? No.
Yeah. Well, no. Rich and I, we're going to meet to talk about how we can change and do different ones, 3 months. Different ideas. But yeah, I mean, we definitely want to make it more inclusive. It would be nice if we could get a few more workouts in, but it's hard aligning with everybody's schedule and things like that.
I mean, the most people that ever showed up to a class was probably like half of the group size.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was cool. Yeah, we had somebody, Rich knew a couponing expert who showed us how to use coupons to eat healthy.
Yeah, it's like I said, there's so many different avenues of health. It's crazy. We talked about that. You went to go see, was it Robin?
Robin was fascinating. Yeah. When I recorded her, the audio quality is going to be terrible.
Is it?
But
okay.
What I learned about eating with her was ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I wish I missed that one, but
she's like, never sear a steak in olive oil. It has too high. You're creating trans fat. Use coconut.
Since you told me that, I've been cooking only with coconut oil.
Right. She had a lot of just little nuggets of things that I would never really know. But her story's fascinating too. She was like morbidly obese till she was 40, and then just started learning like and now lost all the weight. And stuff. Cool. Well, that's awesome. Have we covered all of these? I think so. Okay, we're gonna. I don't want you to talk too much about any of these. I just jotted down I'm sure you hear these questions from people all the time. So in one sentence or 2 words or something, if a client comes to you and says, "I want to lose weight," what's the main thing that they should focus on in 2019?
The main thing, if you want to lose weight,
weight loss,
healthy eating.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. Okay, agree with you. Gaining lean muscle mass.
Quick words.
Quick words.
I want to gain muscle mass. Hit the gym.
Yep.
Heavier weights.
Heavier weights.
Heavier weights for muscle mass.
Okay.
Get a good foundation.
And
So
what about eating? Do you do protein before, during, after, all the above?
That's a good question. A lot of research has shown that honestly, timing isn't as important now. At first, I think about 10, 20 years ago, they were saying like, oh, eat protein as soon as you're done working out. But I mean, now it's as long as you're getting it in. I don't think there's a time frame for it.
Okay.
Because I mean, I study all the research all the time, and it never tells you exactly time wise. It's as long as you get adequate protein in. And of course, we've had this argument, but I'm still a believer that you should try to shoot for like 1 pound per gram. So if you weigh 100 pounds, right, you should try for 100 grams of protein a day.
Yeah.
So that'll help you build muscle mass as well. And if you're like trying to really add on muscle, maybe, do like 1.5 grams per body pound.
Which is a lot.
Which is a lot.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I want to have abs.
Sadly, that's going to be cardio and dieting.
Cardio and dieting.
Cardio and dieting. It's not actually a lot of ab work. I mean, yes, you have to get your abs in, but really it's going to be honing in your body fat.
Abs, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly. They're under there.
They're under there.
It's just losing your body fat.
Maybe that can be my goal. I want to be able to see my abs once in my life.
Yeah. Oh, that's my goal. For some reason, I can get to low body fat too, and it's hard to get them out.
What are some of your favorite exercises to protect your body or your joints? If you're only going to do a couple of things, you don't really know when you walk into a gym.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people who go in and have like knee problems, I would say the safest thing, I wouldn't say like go squat or anything, but maybe do like reverse lunges. It takes a lot of the impact out of your knees. So reverse lunges are great for people with bad knees.
That's where you're stepping backwards.
Yeah, when you step back instead of forward. I'm a big believer in free weight. So like dumbbell bench press will build a good foundation for chest and things like that. Shoulders, anything from like upright rows to lateral raises, things like that will tone out your shoulders.
Cool. Okay. Oh, this was a fun one. If you could only do one physical activity for 2019, what would you choose from an overall holistic health perspective?
Overall, just one thing.
One thing.
That's hard. I'll say for myself, I would like to do yoga more. Yeah. If I could just do one thing, I would do yoga, because I would say for myself, mobility and flexibility are probably my weaknesses.
Okay.
So I would like to be more focused on that.
Cool.
Huh?
I did not. Yeah, I didn't know you'd say that, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm learning something.
Throw a curveball at you.
Throw a curveball. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on? I don't know how long we've been talking for, but I don't know. Any other thoughts?
I mean, no. I like I said, I guess I didn't talking about training. I love to help people. So I mean, that's where when I came back and lost my touch with coding and stuff. I think I'm so grateful for the people that have helped me through my life that I've always wanted to just return that favor. And I just enjoy helping people reach their goals and do things like that. So anybody who wants to come, I'm not one of those trainers who's going to yell in your face, but I promise I'll give you results for sure. Yeah. But I mean, I just want to work with people and help them achieve whatever goal they have. I mean, even if it's just to move once or twice a week,
just to get something in.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Give me some stories about clients that have frustrated you the most. Like what's your bad client stories?
Bad client stories. Luckily, I don't have too many. I have one lady. Sadly, it's just hard for people who do have limited time. So I have one lady who just wants to come in 30 minutes a day.
Okay.
And it's very hard as a trainer because I'm like, yes, she wants to lose weight. I think she has Italian background, like that's where she's from, and she eats a lot, and so she loves Italian food. I'm like, well, you're gonna have to, cut that out. Dieting is going to be very important, and 30 minutes, I'm like, I can't do much. We can do, quick workouts like that, but she's consistently about 10 minutes late all the time. And I always have clients after her. So it turns into like a 15, 20 minute, like really quick hit workout. But so, things like that. I just wish people could be a little more on time.
But you're probably frustrated.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because it messes up my schedule and I can't really help her with her goals because, 20 minutes a week isn't going to do much. If she was moving on her own outside of it, then I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. But honestly, that's probably the most frustrating thing. I just want people to understand it's not a 20 or 30 minute session or even just 1 hour workout session is going to change your life. Because you have to put in the time, the diet. I mean, diet's going to be 80% of it more than the gym should be the easy part. Dieting should be the hard part.
Right. Yeah. That describes me pretty much.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm reasonably good with diet, but I'm a lot better than 3 years ago for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, do you have a joke, Josh? I want to reward people for listening to the end. So what's a good joke that you have?
Good joke that I have.
It's fine.
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot. I really don't have a joke. I'm not a jokester.
You're not a jokester?
I'm not.
Favorite movie or movies of all time?
Oh my gosh. So I'm a big Batman fan, so I would probably have to say The Dark Knight.
Okay, the Christopher
Nolan Heath
series.
Ledger being Joe. Yep, that's probably up there as one of my favorite movies. But if we're eliminating comic book genre,
that goes your top. There goes your
yeah. There goes
20.
no, not all of them. What's a great?
You don't have to. I love The Dark Knight.
No, Dark Knight's amazing. What would be a favorite movie of mine? Inception is amazing. I think. I guess I like Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I was going to say that's another Christopher Nolan.
That's another Christopher Nolan. What oldies?
I never saw Dunkirk.
You ever see Amistad?
Yeah,
that's probably up there as one of my favorites.
It's a good one. Is it? Oh, here's another follow-up to all the health and fitness stuff. Is there a book that you would recommend for people that really enjoy reading?
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, I guess I'm biased. I would probably recommend Dr. Warren Willey's book. He is not the one we read as a group, but let's see here.
There's a different one?
Yeah, he's written about 3 or 4.
I have yet to read the one that you all recommended. It's upstairs though. It's on my bedside table.
That's okay. I also didn't finish it all. Where is this book?
Awesome. Well, you can email it to me and then I'll link it off in the show notes. So if people want to read more about him, I was going to link off too to some of his videos because he puts stuff.
He puts up, but he just updated. He just started a podcast this year. He's doing all sorts of fun stuff.
Cool. We'll link off to all that in the show notes.
Yeah, where is it?
If you can't find it.
Oh, yeah, it's called Better Than Steroids.
Better Than Steroids.
Better Than Steroids.
Nothing's better than steroids.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about how frequently one should use steroids.
We didn't. Yeah.
Still frowned upon?
I mean, I think it's so easy to get nowadays, sadly. I mean, I've never done it or tampered into it, but I mean, I don't know. Research, I mean, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, we don't have to talk about that now. Anyway, thanks so much, Josh.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
I look forward to hearing your voice back. I don't know, in a week or so.
That'll be good.
Thanks so much for listening today. I hope that you enjoyed hearing from Josh about his just philosophies, his life story. Hopefully you find inspiration in it the way that I do. I think what's interesting too is that Josh's story is one of a handful of other stories from other people who I've learned a great deal from this year. We referenced Robin, we referenced Rich. These are other people that are really focused on either better eating, holistic health, and just leading a really good, amazing, fulfilling life. So a lot more to come from all of these folks in my surrounding network, as well as some new people who I have yet to meet, but who are excited to come on the show. So until next time, I hope that your 2019 is off to a great start. I hope that you have some amazing resolutions, amazing goals, and hopefully you can stick with it. And if you want to come on the show and talk about what it is that you're trying to do, just let me know. All right, till next time. See ya. Thanks so much for your time today. I genuinely appreciate it and hope today's episode was valuable. Also, Julius would like me to remind you to rate our podcast on iTunes, leave comments on the website, and share your favorite episodes with a friend. And if you'd like to learn more, just visit trythepodcast.com, or you can shoot me a note by looking for the Contact Us section on the website. You know, life's pretty awesome. You just gotta try. I'll see you next time.